6 AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. Exi, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI.
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing good this morning. An interesting morning indeed. We do have some big news coming up. We had some big news yesterday as well, so a lot to talk about and digest. What is USD doing? Is it still weak? Is it still strong? We will discuss. And also, if you are interested in any markets, any pairs, any trades you might have, or any opportunities you're interested in, drop it in the chat. We can discuss and take a look as well. I'll start with the USD, take a look at the DXY, USD majors, gold and silver. Then of course I'll probably go through a watch list as well, because things have changed and moves have happened which have made me interested in a particular few pairs, and maybe some pairs I'm not really focusing on anymore, so we'll go through that as well. But to start things off, as always, we'll take a look at the DXY, which of course is where the magic happened. We had a really aggressive move to the downside, and I believe we did sweep the lows. Yes, we did. Okay, let's make sure we can see that. There we go. So we did see price take out the lows. So we did have initially some weakness on the dollar. Of course, that was followed by a bit of a reversal. We had the press conference shortly afterwards, and we did see some strength enter the market. Has this really changed the direction of the USD? Yes, we've seen some strength. Yes, we've rejected support essentially, but is this really enough to justify potentially looking for buys in the dollar? I'm not quite convinced. So I am still pretty bearish on USD. However, I'm not as keen to keep shorting anymore because of what we've done and where we're trading. Now, price still definitely has room to keep going if it wants to. We've been falling since the start of the year. You know, the analysis with the DXY has been a very clear bearish trend. Of course, as of late, it's starting to tie a little bit and become a bit more corrective. So maybe an up move, a reversal is on the cards soon come, but I would still say the market's pretty bearish, and I wouldn't be surprised if it do keep falling. But in terms of technicals and opportunities and quality of opportunities, I'm not so keen to keep shorting as price comes back into major lows. I'm happy to short when price is trading here away from the lows because I expect price to get there. So that's the trading range I'm looking to take advantage of. If price is looking like it's about to make another lower low and get back to prior lows, and a trend is likely to continue, I can take advantage of that by trading the pullbacks on the way to that low. But once the market has done that job, it's taken out the low, now I'm a little bit more cautious. Maybe price does respect the low. Maybe price still does want to push to the downside. Maybe we become a bit more corrective now as we look to reverse. So that's kind of the information I'm waiting for on the dollar to see how price does print over the next few days, at least to the end of the week, but over the next few days, potentially even over the next week as well, before I really do cement another opportunity. I'm looking at the dollar. I would still say things are bearish, so if you're looking for opportunities, I would still be looking to short the market. This rejection doesn't tell me that we're about to reverse. There's no significance about it. Yes, a pretty ugly wick to the downside, but the momentum wasn't necessarily really significant. We've come back to retest some price structure. We've already had a strong reaction intraday, really nice reaction on the hourly chart. I would still say things are bearish and price is probably still likely to push back to low. So my take on the DXY is still bearish, but because of the reason I just made about where we're trading and the fact we're taking the lows, I'm not so interested to keep trading it, and that's purely based on my rules and my experience. So yeah, DXY for now still bearish. We're still very consistent with the lower highs, but I'm waiting for a bit more development before I look to join the party. Maybe this is another lower high forming, and maybe we do run to lows. And that was my same kind of take with Euro yesterday. That's why I wasn't really keen to trade Euro, because of course Euro just made some new highs as well. I said this is an area where price can be very vulnerable, and I want euro to kind of develop and really show me the next potential move, go create a new swing high or reverse if it wants to, which is why I say I'm not really interested in trading euro. And of course with FOMC later in the day, we did have a bit of noise in that area. So that's why I just wanted to back away from euro. Looks like we did pull back, and looks like we just about retested that. I mean, might have missed it by a pip there, but more or less we've retested that prior high. We've had a really nice bounce on it as well. So generally not a bad place for a buy. We've been pretty consistent with all these higher lows, which we've been mentioning, and it looks like maybe price is forming another one. Again, I'm not so optimistic about euro right now. I would still say euro is bullish. USD is still weak, so the opportunities you really want to be focused on is still the buying opportunities. But again, I wouldn't be looking for anything crazy. We've already seen some really aggressive rejection. A push back to highs there, I think, would be a great trade in itself. And then we'll look to see what dollar does from there onwards. But we're still really consistent with the lows. We're still respecting structure. Yeah, I would still be pretty bullish on euro. Looks like we've had a successful break and retest of that high. So intraday, I do think we can see a push back to resistance, back to swing highs, and then we'll go from there. Pound USD as well. This one went and smashed into my target yesterday, so very unfortunate to be trailed out of my position. Was gutted about that one, especially the first trade I took on the 50-minute chart in a while. Would have been nice to walk away for winner, but I had an entry here, really nice swing to the upside. I was tagged out on this bearish candle here, unfortunately, literally to the pip, to be honest. And then of course FOMC came in. I would have held probably through FOMC because price was over here. I would have trailed stops above break even, so I would have been relatively safe to hold, to be honest. But yeah, very violent move, so you know, closing before the trade does make sense as well. But yeah, it looks like we've had a break and retest again for pound. We've come back into resistance here, and looks like price rejected it too. I was debating looking to get back into the market, but I'm not as keen because price has technically done its job for me, which has come back into the highs here. We just about tapped into the high there, and that's really the plan I was looking at, price pushing back into this level. And since we've done that off the back of FOMC, I'm not so keen with the buys at the moment, and the entry is not really how I like it to be as well. Really aggressive push up, but I was looking for a bit more complex pullback there. So because of that, I have held back again from pound, but on paper it is a decent break and retest. And like I said, as long as price stays above this area, I do still see more upside for pound USD. But again, I would be a bit careful as we approach resistance. You can see a lot of wicks there. There's not a lot of room to work with before maybe price does start to struggle. So be aware of that for pound USD. But again, in terms of direction, pound USD still doing its thing in terms of the bullish momentum, still with the higher lows. This could be another one. Wasn't a big fan of the entry, and taking into account what I've seen in the dollar, which is why I've stayed away. But yeah, I'm not seeing any significant selling pressure really, so the bias would remain bullish. Dollar CAD did have a bit of a bounce. We also had CAD interest rates yesterday as well, and that did provide a bit of noise beforehand. Not as much as FOMC, but we did see a bit of noise. I'm still pretty bearish on dollar CAD. I was hoping for a bigger push to the upside. I said if price can maybe push to this supply zone, that could be an area where maybe another lower high does form, and price does go for a nice swing to the downside. So you got one high there, another lower high, then the next one, lovely head and shoulder pattern, looking for the next kind of lower high in that sequence. If I don't get that, it's not the end of the world, because I am still keeping a very close eye on the break of this support level. I'm very bearish on dollar CAD. I still do think we can head back to the lows here. So there's still a lot of distance to be traveled, still a lot of opportunity to be taken advantage of. And really, if we can get a break of that support level, that's where I'm really interested, looking for pullbacks on the way down, whether the break and retest, or whether I have to drop to the 50-minute chart to look for some shallow pullbacks along the way if momentum is very strong. I'm happy to do both. But yeah, I was looking for a bit more upside, not quite convinced. I mean, I do like how corrective price was, but the wicks there just make things a bit awkward. So I'm not so keen about to jump into anything. I mean, you can probably debate maybe a strong break of that counter trend line. That could be an entry in itself and stops above the high. But we're not really trading in an area of significance. That gets me excited about this opportunity. So yeah, I'm not really seeing much there. But I am very bearish on dollar CAD. It's definitely a pair I'm keeping a close eye on. Just not quite ready for me to be looking for entries just yet. As for Aussie dollar, Interesting one as well. Came back to retest the prior high there too. Nice rejection. I don't actually mind some buys on Aussie dollar, but for an entry, I kind of want price to push away, come back, retest the lows, and then get the trade. Something like that, I might be interested in taking some buys, just because we've had a bit more of a convincing breakout now. But only in those conditions would I favor the buy, because I still think Aussie dollar is a little bit tired, especially if you look at the higher time frame. This is not necessarily your healthy trend. I mean, you could argue this is pretty healthy. Momentum's good. So yeah, there is some nice momentum there, but I'm not the biggest fan of Aussie dollar. But if I can get a solid entry setup at that high, this is a significant level of support now, and this will be a fairly significant level of demand. Brief consolidation, really powerful breakout. We've come back to retest that. So depending how things set up, I might entertain a buy there, but that probably will take a day or two to form. New Zealand dollar, very interesting. Do we have NZD interest rates? I think I missed that, because NZD is insanely weak. I think I missed something, because I'm looking at the calendar and I can't see any NZD news, unless I'm just blind. Okay, 11:45. We did have GDP growth rate. Okay, which came out very. Okay, so the numbers were very off to what they were expected. But yeah, I wouldn't think. Okay, yeah, it probably is that, to be honest. 11:45. I mean, I was asleep during those times, so I was not really paying attention to the charts. But looks like, yeah, the miss on the GDP growth rate is probably what caused this. But yeah, really violent move on NZD. I can't lie, really violent. Stuttering. Really violent move on NZD here. I was looking to see if price could break structure, but nope, we just wicked through and sold off a cliff. But I am still pretty bearish on USD, so it begs the question, who's going to be weaker, NZD or USD? Now, I'm still looking at these higher lows, and I'm debating if another one's going to form, but this is a very violent move, so I do need things to settle. This is a really aggressive move. Maybe do we pull back a little bit, attack the lows again? This will become like a big area of demand here, because this is what gave us the last swing to the upside. Maybe a test of this area could be something to look into. Maybe somewhat of a trend line connecting the dots there. That could be a nice trade to look into, but yeah, that's going to take, again, maybe a few days to develop, because this momentum needs to calm down. Maybe you need to see a short-term up move first before you talk about the buys. I'm not going to be jumping straight in, especially against that momentum. But yeah, New Zealand dollar, I still do have some of a bullish bias. I do think that will be the bigger move. I'm still looking to attack USD weakness until proven otherwise. But yeah, NZD is very weak at the moment as well, so I have to be quite careful of that. But I am getting ready for some buys generally in this area here. As for gold was very, well, it wasn't very much, was it? It kind of wicked up and down, but nothing crazy. I would still say price is rejecting well that low. Very nice push to the upside this morning. I think I missed that. I mean, I'm not really looking to trade gold on the 15-minute just yet, so I'm only focusing with the currency pairs at the moment. I'm just taking it slow and steady. But I like the way price is moving, creating these lower lows, dipped into this area, and really nice reaction this morning. But yeah, it looks to me that this demand zone, again, is functioning and holding price pretty well. Really aggressive move, yeah, not yesterday or Monday. And this looks like a really corrective pullback. I know we've got some wicks to the upside and things look a little bit extravagant, but this looks like a healthy pullback. Momentum's still very much up with the buyers, with gold at the moment. So I wouldn't be looking at any selling ideas until maybe price breaks the low here. Then yeah, I would contemplate some sales there, but that's not the case. And this morning, a really aggressive wick to the downside in a very significant zone. So this looks to me that gold could be ready for another swing back to highs. and maybe we go and attack 37.50, the next big psychological level. So yeah, I would be pretty bullish on gold. Pretty bullish on gold. And in terms of silver, likewise as well. I like the candle this morning. Of course, coming back into a similar range. Lovely consolidation. Nice break to the upside. I said keep an eye on this area. This could look like a nice area for a retest. But I did say wait for price to develop. You don't want to be entering straight away because we were looking pretty aggressive on the way down yesterday. Yeah, we were looking pretty aggressive on the way down. So I said wait for price to maybe find support, maybe double bottom before looking to get into anything. And actually, I would still probably suggest we're kind of flat here. So what would be nice maybe would be another push to the low and then taking some buys there. Or if you're looking for the safer trade, waiting for that momentum to break out, then looking for some pullbacks after that. That way you can be pretty confident that momentum is back in the market, that price is finding support and probably going to form a higher low. And then your job is just to look for the corrections after that and trade it back to highs. And maybe you drop to like a 15-minute or a 5-minute chart to trade that. But that becomes a much simpler opportunity to maneuver. Because this here is where the noise is, this is where the fluctuation is. If you do wait for a strong break to the upside, it puts momentum back with the buyers. And there's a likeliness that we will probably come back to highs. Then you're just looking for pullbacks on an intraday time frame. But yeah, I'm still bullish on silver, still bullish on gold. Looks like these demand zones are doing their job. And yeah, I do expect us to continue higher. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD. Interesting news event, of course. But I would still say I'm pretty bearish on USD for now. Okay, where was we? Lebsy, welcome to the streamer, man. Yes, we can take a look at Euro Swiss for you, no problem. Malcolm, experiment how GU yesterday worked out. Yeah, unfortunately, I just wasn't in the position to take advantage of it. I was trailed out on the stream, actually, at break even. I moved stops to break even after price took out this high here, and I was trailed out on that candle. So the entry there, stops, a bit of room underneath the low, and then looking for a push to the high. But I was hoping to hold on for a big continuation there as well. But yeah, unfortunately was trailed out. Maybe I went to break even too early. Of course, hindsight is a wonderful thing. I mean, I think I did go to break even at a pretty reasonable place. It just wasn't meant to be with this position. But yeah, a really lovely move to the upside. Would have been nice to hold the position. And like I said, going into FOMC, price trading up here, probably would have moved stops in a bit of profit there just to protect myself. Because I'm pretty confident that price will make the move back to highs. Not necessarily that this trade will make the move. You know, price could take me out break even and go against me. But I did expect pound USD to eventually get there. So I wouldn't mind holding onto the position and try my luck at FOMC, which would have been nice, but yeah, unfortunately was out the position. But yeah, nice trade. Of course, in those situations, good to reflect on the position, kind of minus the break even. Okay, the analysis did play out pretty well. Okay, positives to take there. Move on to the next position. Good morning, Yusuf. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Good morning, GPJ. Welcome to the stream. Nice to join you guys. Appreciate it. Glad to have you on the stream as well. Yusuf, Euro G on the 15. Sure thing. Willem, welcome to the stream, man. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. Salman, good morning. I'm doing good. Hope you're well too. Yep, Euro Yen. Euro Yen's very, very bullish. Probably the most, or one of the most bullish yen pairs at the moment. I think Euro might be quite strong too. But yeah, waiting for a pullback to target those weekly highs. What are your thoughts? Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at that. Euro Yen is an interesting one. What's up, Dmart? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Okay, guys, before we do get into some analysis, just want to make sure you guys are well aware of our Perps platform. The competition is still open to participate in. It has not started yet. So if you are interested in jumping and getting involved, again, it's just a bit of fun. You can trade a bunch of different cryptocurrencies. There will be cash prizes, not crash prizes. There will be cash prizes for for the best performing traders. And again, it's just a bit of fun. There's no commitment or anything you need to purchase. It's just a bit of fun. If you're interested, drop your email down in the form. But if you're not used to the platform, I do have a video going through the platform on my channel. But again, just how you would use any trading platform. In this case, you'll be trading perps, which are perpetual futures contracts, same as futures, except the contracts don't expire. Very, very similar to trading CFDs. At the moment, we have a bunch of cryptocurrencies you can trade. FX, commodities, indices will be coming very, very soon to the platform. And again, you can connect with any Solana or Ethereum wallet or your email if you don't have any of those either. So if you haven't checked it out, the platform, make sure you go do so. The link to it is at the top of the chat, and a lot more to come from the platform itself. And if you're interested in the competition, make sure you drop your email in the form. But anywho, let's go through some pairs. Euro Swiss, we'll take a look, and then we'll go through Euro and GU on the 15 as well. So Euro CHF, interesting. I haven't really been focused on this pair, to be honest. I kind of check in on this one every weekend, but I don't really spend too much time on it because it's been very, very flat. And if I'm going to take a trade on this one, it's got to be because price is at the highs or prices at the lows, and we've kind of done neither really for a while. We did reject the highs pretty well there, but I wouldn't say we're quite at the lows yet. So yeah, with Euro Swiss, I would say it's a very flat market. This is something I'm keeping a close eye on the higher time frames. I like the support level. Price is forming here. We've rejected this level on numerous occasions, once, twice, third time, a fourth time, even a fifth time over there. So it looks like this is a very significant level, and I do expect Euro Swiss to eventually reverse. So I'm actually getting ready for some buys for this one, but again, that could take a few weeks, so I'm not necessarily getting ready for buys right now, but I'm keeping it in the back of my mind for now. At the moment, we just have a ranging market, really. So if you're looking to take advantage of any conditions here, I'll be waiting for price to push back into support. I kind of like how price is moving, though. It's really kind of steady, really corrective. It's not like we're charging to the downside like we did here with that aggressive move there. It's a really corrective, really choppy way down, which tells me I'm expecting a bounce here. Of course, we'll wait for price to get there and react well, and wait for the necessary entry confirmations. But because of how slow price is going, we've got significant support below us as well. I do think the buys will make a lot of sense there. Of course, waiting for some entry confirmations to support that, but then naturally expecting a push to the high end of the range. So there's an opportunity there with Euro Swiss, but I'll look to play the conditions. Price is not really trending, so pullback strategies won't perform particularly well here. Not to say that you can't find a winning trade somewhere. You probably can. You know, even in the wrong conditions, you can still make a profit, but it's just not optimal, and it's just going to be a lot harder anyway. So I'll look to try and play the range, position myself as low as possible, target the highs of the range, or at least the midpoint, and that would be very much my plan. Otherwise, I'm not the biggest fan of this pair right now. I think when we do eventually reverse and break out and see that momentum, I think there could be some really nice break opportunities, but for now, I'll just be looking to buy low and sell high. In terms of Euro, USD, and Pound on the 15, let's get into it because I'm interested. So on the 15-minute chart, so actually I don't know why I deleted that. On the 15-minute chart, we've got the break and retest of the prior high here, and price just about came to retest it. Now we're seeing a very violent reaction. So what would my plan be for Euro? Well, I'm not too sure if I'll be looking for buys. I wouldn't really be looking for buys right now, especially after such a commanding move to the upside. We're stretched. We've already seen the buys enter the market. I think looking to buy now, unless you're looking for a quick scalp, I think it's a little bit too late to be entering some buys. And I would say that price naturally is coming more into an area of supply, and where potentially sellers could be looking to enter the market. You know, I'm not quite convinced as looking to buy. If I wanted to buy this one, I should really be already in the position. So yeah, if I'm looking to buy this one, I would probably wait for price to give me another sell-off and reject lows well, and then position myself down here. That's where I think optimal buys would be in terms of location, in terms of entry, in terms of stops, in terms of risk to reward even. I think that would be the most sensible place to take advantage of all those components. In terms of buying now, it's a little bit late to the party. In terms of selling, well, it is a bit aggressive to sell as well. Like I said, we are coming into supply, so the location does make sense. But again, you're taking into account the uptrend that we have on pretty much all the higher time frames. The market is still definitely bullish, so you are going against that momentum. So naturally, the trade will be of lower quality. But it does make sense, especially after the rejection we had there. We could be seeing potentially a pullback of this bearish move coming to the 50, maybe 0.618. It is a sensible place for a short. It's just aggressive because it's counter trend. That's the only kind of big negative, I would say. But yeah, it depends on your bias. Depends what you're looking for. If you're bullish, unless you're already in the position, you're probably waiting for another move back down, and back to the lows would be the best place. Unless maybe price starts to pick up a bit of a trend, then maybe some pullbacks later on could look good after another dip, but we're probably still at least 24 hours away from that. So we can probably discuss that more on tomorrow's stream, but it's too early to say. Coming back into supply, not the time and place to be looking to buy the market. And again, predominantly, I would want to be buying euro. The trend's still up, still seeing higher highs and higher lows. So predominantly trying to find buys rather than sells. So yeah, I don't really see a great opportunity at the moment. Maybe a push to lows, but again, we're still a while away from there. In terms of pound USD, kind of a similar situation with this one as well. We came back, retested the prior high over here, really aggressive reaction. We have taken out some structure here on the lower time frames. So as you can see, we've blown past that. So we've had a really strong move for pound. But again, is it the time and place to be looking to buy and enter some long positions? I don't agree as well, especially in the 50-minute chart coming back to supply. Doesn't mean that price can't break through this area. Of course we can. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to find that out with some buy entries on myself. I'd rather just watch on the sidelines, to be honest. In terms of a good buy for pound, I would agree as well. Another run back to the lows. I think that's where you'd be best positioned to take advantage of a buy for pound. You'll be entering in a sensible place. Your stops will be well protected, or in a smart place anyway. And again, risk reward will be maximized there if you do catch a big swing. So it's a little bit late for buys. It's a little bit too early for sells. I know, again, I've marked out the supply zone, but it's not like we've got really any clear-cut bearish structure that we're trading here. Yes, we've got a very aggressive sell-off, but I'm still under the impression that pound USD is still bullish. I'm looking at the higher time frames. We're still respecting key support, still respecting this area. I'm still very much looking to try and buy pound USD and looking to try and take this back to highs. So 50-minute chart, I just don't see a good buy right now. Unless we run back to lows, which again, like I said, probably take some time. But again, I wouldn't try and force anything. If you're already in a buy, you're looking good. Probably looking to maybe start trading some stops, depending how aggressive you want to be with the position. But unless you're in the trade, I'm not seeing much of an opportunity to get involved, unless again you bought at the lows there. So yeah, interesting with both euro and pound, but I am bullish on both of them. I do expect higher prices still. The trend is still up, so I wouldn't really be saying anything otherwise than that. But yeah, since we've had that reaction this morning, I'm not seeing clear-cut opportunities to jump into a buy. So hopefully that made some sense. Okay, so we'll take a look at Euro Yen next. Salman talking about some pullbacks. We shall discuss New Zealand dollar, okay, GPJ. We'll take a look. What's up, Bashi? Welcome to the stream. It's like a continuation, the next episode. I appreciate it, Bashi. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Hit the bell, share the stream, all that does really help out, and I do really appreciate it. Appreciate it, Bashi. No problem, Lebsy. Happy to help. Okay, New Zealand yen. Yes, we can take a look at that as well. Okay, Mammy, you're selling GU. Interesting. And your analysis on you make me thinking. I mean, I wouldn't be looking to sell GU. Like I said, I do agree it's in a area where sells do make sense. because, coming back into supply, but I wouldn't really be looking to sell it because, I like to be in tune with the higher time frame. I like to be in tune with the direction of the market, which I would still say is bullish. So predominantly, I would want to be looking to buy pound USD. I don't think it's the best time or place to be looking to buy it, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'll be looking to sell. So yeah, I would say the area makes sense. It's just the direction, and given the conditions, it's always going to be a little bit difficult to try and take advantage from shorts here. So I'd rather wait for the buy, but I would not be looking to try and buy pound USD now. Okay, so let's go through Euro Yen, and we'll take a look at New Zealand Yen as well. Of course, if you do have any requests, any pairs you're looking at, drop it down in the chat and we shall take a look. But yeah, Euro Yen, very, very commanding move to the upside, absolutely smashing through the highs. And looks like 175 is just a matter of time before price goes and tests that high, which is still quite a way away, to be honest. Still got some distance, still some tradable opportunities there. So I do like that outlook. Who mentioned it? Salman? Yeah, I do like that outlook. Really commanding candle on the daily chart. Of course, it still does have quite some time before it does close. You've got about 11 hours and 20 minutes. So a lot can happen in that time, but we're looking strong right now. And I quite like the 4-hour chart, which already shows momentum has really come into play. So unless we come crashing back down by the end of the day, that's when I'll start to rethink things. But momentum looks really good. I like the higher lows and the consistency of it. You can see price has been pretty consistent here. And now all of this will become support, slash demand. So yeah, I would keep an eye out for some pullbacks. I think if you're looking for opportunities on like an hourly chart, this looks like the best area for it. Come back to retest the high, come back to test, kind of where the momentum came from, the demand zone that brought us this breakout. This would be a very nice place for a buy. There is the probability that now that we've seen the breakout, momentum's now arrived and maybe price just continues higher with some more shallow pullbacks. So if that's the case, you might want to even drop to like a 50-minute chart or a 30-minute chart for those type of pullbacks. It's still too early to say because we've just had the breakout. So we need to see what price is going to do next. Do we start pulling back? Does momentum keep going? We'll have to wait and see. But you might even have to drop quite low for opportunities just because there's not that much room back to highs and there's a lot of momentum right now. Could easily see price just continue that same speed back to resistance. But this looks like a really nice place for a buy. So I would suggest the pullback to there. If we can get it, great. We'll look for some entries. If not, do keep an eye on the lower time frames for those shorter term pullbacks before we do get back into swing highs. But yeah, very bullish on Euro Yen. And the funny thing is, going to New Zealand Yen, things look pretty bearish here. We've had a really commanding move on the daily chart. Of course, we've seen some NZD weakness come into play. So it's interesting, is this NZD weakness here to stay? Or is Yen weakness here to stay and NZD is just having a bit of a moment here and then things are just going to reverse and go back to normal? Because 9 times out of 10, the Yen pairs do the same thing. If Euro Yen's going to break out, if Swiss Yen's going to break out, if Pound Yen's going to break out, if CAD Yen's going to go up, Dollar Yen's going to go up, if all those Yen pairs are going to go up, 9 times out of 10, New Zealand Yen's going to go up too. Maybe it's going to be a bit bearish first because of the news yesterday, but eventually that Yen weakness will come into light. Very rarely we'll see, most Yen pairs or Yen crosses trend up and then one Yen pair is trending down. For a short period of time, yeah, that could happen, but not over a long period of time. If you look at the trajectory of most Yen pairs, they're doing the same thing 8, 9 times out of 10. So I would probably bet on New Zealand Yen forming a higher low and eventually reversing back to the upside, coming back to the highs here. I do think that still will be the bigger move. But again, trying to find those buys is where things become a little bit difficult. I did say as long as price does respect this low, I would still be quite bullish. But I also do like this area here. I wouldn't be quite bearish right now, especially seeing what the Yen is doing. But would I be looking to try and buy the market? No. I think it's a bit too aggressive a pullback. I do want to see price maybe start to show some strength and then back up the buys afterwards. I mean, it could form somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern. I'm sure you guys can see the picture here. So it could be seeing something like that. And that's the support to back it up. So as long as we can respect this area, this demand zone and that support level, I do think the buyers will eventually take control of the market. But again, timing is important because NZD is very weak right now. We need that weakness to kind of weaken, if that makes sense, before we do start buying it. But I do think the yen weakness will be the bigger factor here. So I would say I'm pretty bullish on New Zealand yen, but it's still not quite there yet for the buyers. I would still say things are too early, and we could of course break through. It's not guaranteed that we do see upside. So what I would suggest, wait for maybe the first up move that shows some strength coming to the market, then try and catch the next one after that. Maybe a double bottom, maybe it's a higher low. But as long as we can stay above 86.730, I do expect us to eventually pick up some steam again and push back to highs. I'm looking at the yen basket. We tried to break higher yesterday, but that failed. We had a bit of a wick to the upside there. We do have the yen interest rates coming out, so maybe that could be a smart event to wait for before looking to trade the yen pairs. But we've got a bunch of wicks here to the upside, and price is still respecting that trend line pretty well. We do have support below us, which price really does need to break through, but I do think we will, and when that happens, should see a nice drop back to 6,100, and that should help New Zealand yen push up as well. So I'm still very much a buyer of New Zealand yen, or a ball of New Zealand yen. I'm not buying at the moment, but this is the location where I'll keep an eye out. But if you compare it to like Euro yen, which we just looked at, Euro yen's price action looks a lot cleaner in terms of taking advantage of what's going on right now. We've just seen a clean breakout. The plan is, okay, we're looking for pullbacks, more upside. This is a bit more complex. So I'd rather put my eggs in the Euro yen basket than this one, but I do expect them to have similar fates. Okay, so New Zealand dollar we'll take a look at next. Okay, fair enough, Mammy. Indicate that strong selling, so I think sells in... Okay, fair enough. Again, I'm not disputing that. I'm sure you have your valid reason to take, all your positions. I'm just, sharing my thought process and opinion. FX especially has everyone's trading week been so far. We've only had one trade this week, which was the pound USD trade, which was a break even. And did stomach some of the pain as price did run away from me there. But other than that, haven't really had too many other opportunities. Pound USD and dollar CAD were, dollar yen did actually set up for me, but I didn't like the risk reward, so I did avoid that position. But we can go through that shortly. Yeah, we do have pound USD interest rate at 12 as well, expecting a big drop for a new buy. Interesting. I'm not trying to predict too much here with pound, but yeah, we'll stay live for that one as well. Okay, so we'll go through New Zealand dollar, which again another USD pair. So I'm still under the impression that USD is still weak. I know we had a bit of a move up on the dollar. We did have a move down first, but then we did gain some strength. But I still don't see. I don't buy into the buys at the moment. I still do expect USD weakness. So New Zealand dollar, I do think still likely to reverse the upside. But again, timing is everything. We've had a really aggressive move down. Let's wait for price to settle first. I don't want to be the first person into this move. We just had a really aggressive move down. This is moving like a runaway train. In metaphoric terms, a really aggressive move. I don't want to step in front of that. Let price find support, settle, maybe consolidate even, and then that will show us that, okay, if the buys are really coming back into play. Right now it's a bit too early to justify that, but I am looking at something like this forming, another higher low, maybe a retest of this trend line. What I'd like to see is maybe an up move, then a push down, and then maybe some buys come into play. That would be something that would interest me. But yeah, I'll probably say that might take another 24, 48 hours to develop at the very least. But yeah, New Zealand dollar, I'm keeping an eye around 0.588 0.00 around this area here for some longs. So the plan is, can we look to find the next higher low? We've seen a really aggressive move down, so that's a bit of a red flag, but I'm sure if things can develop, support can form, maybe a double bottom forms, there could be some nice opportunities to take a buy in the next day or two. So keeping a close eye at this area. It really depends how we operate at these areas. If momentum just picks up and we keep falling through, then of course I'll stay away. But if we can slow down, this could be a smart area to find some longs, entries, stops, targets back at the high, and things go very well. You could be looking at this high, could be looking at this high as well. So there's definitely room to the upside here for New Zealand dollar. And an interesting opportunity, which on the Zentrix platform, one of the signals produced this morning, dollar CHF shorts, which I actually quite like the look of. The only reason why I wouldn't take the position is because price did just pierce the low, which is the same reason why I didn't get into pound USD or even euro as well. If this was higher up, I would have liked this position, because the plan for shorts this week for dollar CHF, if you watch the weekly analysis, I said I'm looking for a push to the upside and then some shorts. So I push back into the supply zone, hopefully catch the next lower high of the move. So we have one high over there, second over there, third over there, fourth, and I was hoping to maybe catch the fifth if price would be kind enough to come back and test that area, find some shorts there, stops above the high, and see if I can short it back to low. So that was the plan coming into the week. But unfortunately, price was far too bearish. We dumped to the downside and just aggressively took out the low there. And then, of course, we had FOMC, which another big wick to the downside. So now that price has taken out the low, the opportunity's kind of gone, because the opportunity was expecting price to take out the low. Yes, the trend is still bearish, and we have come back to retest some key structure, which is where the signal has come in from. We come back to test price support, same as euro, same as pound. Lovely retest there. This is actually the entry of the position. So you got the entry, stop loss, and the target and the risk reward there. I've entered it into the chart. That's the entry, that's the stop loss, and that's the target. It looks like a pretty decent setup there, especially kind of gauging the momentum that came in on that bearish candle. I still do think price is likely to fall, same with the DXY as well. All you're looking for is just to push back into prior lows. So it looks like a pretty good setup to me. Like I said, the only thing I don't like about it is where we're trading. And that's maybe me being a bit picky, but from experience, it's always going to be a little bit tricky operating at those lows. So I would kind of hold off a little bit. But the trend looks pretty weak still. Dollar looks pretty weak still. If you take a look at the DXY, DXY's done exactly the same thing, really. Pull back into support, retest it, aggressive move down. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to come back and test the lows again. Not seeing any convincing bullish momentum that tells me, okay, dollar's about to reverse. Still pointing to the still pointing to the downside to me. So yeah, interesting from the DXY at the moment. I'm mentioning you the continuation. Exactly, let the market settle after FOMC, because a lot of noise, people are excited, a lot of people jumped into the markets on the news release, and we still got more events as well. Of course, the FOMC, the Fed is the big one, but Bank of England, that will cause some noise for pound, and the yen will cause some noise, not only just for the yen as well. Other currencies will be affected with the yen. Okay, where was I? GJ did something significant. Okay, we'll take a look at pound yen as well. I'm expecting that one to break out like euro yen. Euro yen's seen a ginormous breakout. I'm expecting pound yen to join the party. But it's taking its time. Ooh, what am I talking about? I did not realize price did that. When that kind of opened at 6 and closed at 10. Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that kind of did that. Okay, looks like we are getting a breakout on pound yen. I do stand corrected. Let me see how we're looking on the daily chart. Okay, I mean, it's not the best breakout in the world. It looks like we're kind of just steadily picking up momentum. And I wouldn't say today's candle is entirely significant. It's not like it's not like euro yen, which is like a clear resistance and a clear break of that level. Euro yen's done that pretty clearly. Pound yen is just a little bit corrective, but we're hinting at the breakout, which is good. It's progress. We're getting there. And the reason why I like pound yen so much is because of the opportunity itself in the higher time frames. If we do manage to clear resistance here, the next big target for pound yen would be all the way up here, 206. And if I measure the distance from, where's the measuring tool again? Am I going blind? There it is. From this level to that level, you got about 650 pips there. So you got a lot of opportunity. And again, you're not looking to take advantage of all 650 pips. You're just looking to see if you can take little small pieces of the pie along the way. And the beauty of it as well is that we have a clear uptrending market. So we're just going to expect trending conditions all the way up to the highs as long as price stays above that resistance. So pullback opportunities, there should be quite a lot of them, especially intraday, and just makes things pretty clear in terms of what my plan for pound yen is. I'm just expecting upside pullback. Sure, there might be some complex pullbacks. There might be some consolidation at some point in time. Might be a bit of like a miniature reversal here and there. But for the most part, looking at buying the dips really along the way to the upside in a similar fashion to what Euro Yen did a few months back actually. If we go to the weekly chart for this one, you can see this one broke out of similar resistance and again trend to the upside really, really well. Now it looks like it's coming back into high. So I think pound yen's kind of just lagging behind Euro Yen really. And now it looks like price is finally getting the breakout and we can look for some buying opportunities. So yeah, I'm pretty bullish on this one. Really nice move to the upside. Again, I'm not so keen about jumping to the buys just yet. It's kind of fresh. It's early doors. Could still see price kind of have a weird sell-off again. But if we can sustain this momentum, yeah, I will be all over those pullbacks on the way up. And 206 will be my next best guess of where I expect price to get to. And that is pretty far away. So probably from now to the end of the year, pretty much. Just attacking longs and pound yen, really. Okay, so GJ Aussie CAD and 15. Okay, we shall take a look at those as well, no problem. Aussie Yen Lebsy. Okay, we'll take a look at that as well, no problem. Weakness. I had to say it a lot for me to understand. Yeah, I know. A lot of, I need to try and find some new words to describe that. Because when I meant weakness, I'm talking about, the market being bearish. And then when I say weaken, I'm talking about not being as bearish anymore. So probably do need to change up the lingo there before I do confuse people. Pound Aussie, Euro Aussie, yes, we can take a look at those as well. No problem. Happy to help. Okay, a bunch of pairs to go through. What's up, Omar? Oil, we'll add that to the list. CS integrated, my man. Welcome, welcome. Clear direction will be tomorrow, hopefully. I mean, I'm still somewhat bearish on USD. It's just I'm not finding the best opportunity, so I'm not necessarily looking to attack the sells at the moment. But anyway, let's go through GJ, Aussie CAD. Okay, yeah, GJ and Aussie CAD. So yeah, GJ on the 15-minute chart. Well, like I said, this is the first up move, the first breakout. And because it's not quite clear like Euro Yen, I wouldn't be the first one to try and jump in to some pullbacks. And I say that because you can see every time price does sweep a high, we kind of reverse a little bit. I know this breakout's a little bit different, but my point is that every time price does kind of sweep a high, we tend to fall back on ourselves. And we've just gone and done that again. And I wouldn't be looking for aggressive buy opportunities like, let's say, a quick pullback here to retest the high for a buy. I wouldn't be so convinced that the market has had a pretty long-term up move as well. I would say that we are looking quite tired. I want to see some convincing strength enter the market before I would bank on shallow pullbacks. So basically what I'd be looking for would be maybe a short-term consolidation, then another strong move to tell me that, okay, we're not falling back over anymore. Because every time the high has been created, we fall over, we fall over, we fall over. So if we were to maybe pause for a bit and then break out again, that shows an end to that pattern and that we're coming into a new stage where momentum is maybe really strong or going to be trending a lot more aggressively. So I could still see potentially pound yen falling back over, later this afternoon or later this week, and then we're back at square one. I mean, we are still pretty consistent with the higher lows here, so perhaps we're looking for buys down here again, which is not a bad opportunity at all. Price has been really consistent with that. We could see price make another move down, reject well, and that could be a nice buy opportunity itself. But I wouldn't necessarily be looking for like a break and retest of the high here. I think it's just too early, and the market is just way too corrective for that. So if you're looking for buys for pound yen, I would suggest anywhere around here for now is still the best bet. Like I said, if momentum does come into play and we see another strong move, doesn't have to be as strong as that candle, but I want to see price really pull away, then I'll be looking for maybe more intraday pullbacks, so maybe on the 15-minute chart. If we're looking really aggressive and I need to entertain some shallow pullbacks, then something like that is going to interest me. But we're not quite there yet. We'll probably find out in 24 hours or not if that will be the case. But for now, this is, for me, the best place to buy looking at the technicals. If you look at the market, it has been operating in a bit of a channel. I would say we're now at the top of the channel. I wouldn't really want to be entertaining some buys here. I'd rather wait for us to really break out that channel, then look for the pullbacks. I think that would be a much safer, wiser opportunity. For now, this is really where the buys are at. So drop into the 15-minute chart. I don't see much of an opportunity here. It's just really nice momentum. We ripped through the highs. This is where I will let price do its thing and wait for it to settle. Does price give us that bigger pullback into the zone I just mentioned? Maybe. Does price continue to rip to the upside? Maybe does that, and then we take some pullbacks within that. Or maybe do we consolidate and just kind of flatten out? We'll have to wait and see, but I don't see a crystal clear opportunity for a buy or a sell right now. Sells will be just way too aggressive in my opinion. But yeah, I wouldn't entertain buys. I mean, it could play out again. That's the beauty of trading. Even trades which are poor in quality could still play out, and even good trades will still lose. So it's not guaranteed, but just looking at the markets from an objective point of view, yes, I'm leaning towards a bullish bias. Yes, I do think pound yen will do what euro yen's doing and start breaking out. I do expect that, but I don't want to jump the gun and get in too early. So yeah, either we get the bigger pullbacks here, or momentum does continue. In terms of Aussie CAD is a pair on my watch list. I'm waiting for some pullbacks for this one, and we're seeing some signs of that. It has come back to test the high, I believe, has it? Yeah, just about to test the high there. So this is the first area where I'm starting to debate entries. I also mentioned this area here as well, which I really do like. I'm not too sure if I have a big enough pullback to get there, but I am pretty bullish on Aussie CAD as well, and I do like the buys for this one. So I was keeping a close eye on this one on an intraday basis. Not the biggest fan of the opportunity just yet. I mean, this does look like a pullback to me. It's really nice and corrective. So I am under the impression that eventually we are going to push through. I haven't quite got a clear entry just yet. I have to be a bit more careful. Aussie CAD is a bit more of a choppy pair, so you have to be a little bit more patient with the price action. It's not going to be as clean as like a euro dollar or a pound dollar. So I have to be a bit more careful with candlesticks and entries and everything really. But yeah, I do expect price to push higher. What would I be looking for? I'm not too sure yet. Another push to lows probably wouldn't do it for me. I'm really just keeping an eye on price. I don't really have a clear-cut opportunity. Maybe this pullback is done and maybe price does push through, but I'm not quite convinced with it, especially because we have such a stretched move where I don't want to be buying too early, and especially a pair like Aussie CAD, which has pretty deep pullbacks notoriously. If you just look at price, it's not that we trend aggressively most of the time. This has pretty deep pullbacks a lot of the time. So I'd rather be the patient trader here and wait for that deep pullback, which may not come, but just looking at the history of price, we tend to pull back deep most of the time anyway. So I would expect that to happen sooner or later, and my long-term targets for Aussie CAD are still a push back to the highs there. So there's no rush for me to get into anything. So Aussie CAD, I'm kind of still waiting on a deeper pullback, more complex pullback. Maybe if price does, push up and maybe come back down again, maybe something like that to develop. And then I take some buys off that area while still getting the retest of the high but more of a complex pullback forms, more of a deeper pullback forms, then something like that I take the long position from. So yeah, it's just still a bit too early for me. I wouldn't be looking to sell either. So yeah, not quite there yet. And on the 15-minute chart, on the 15-minute chart, this would be your supply zone, your resistance. This is the consolidation which gave us the move down. You could see price potentially move into here, start to slow down, and then have another drop. That could be the case. I think from a 15-minute point of view, I'll be focused on sales. I wouldn't be bullish anymore. Yes, I still think the bigger move will be for the buyers, and I do think Aussie CAD will eventually rip through highs. But at the same time, on the 50-minute chart, you're not really so focused about the buys at the moment, because we have broken through structure, and we have been pretty consistent with these lower highs here. So at that point, I would be looking to try and continue that, or at least look to try and take a piece of that. So yeah, going forward with Aussie CAD, not the biggest fan of that opportunity just yet. Still a little bit too early for me. I'll go through Pound Aussie and Euro Aussie next. And then I'll take a look at oil as well. Have I missed out a pair? Maybe I have. Did someone mention Aussie CHF? Aussie CAD or Aussie CHF? But actually trying to confuse me. I'm joking. But yeah, we'll take a look at Pound Aussie, Euro Aussie. So yeah, Pound Aussie and Euro Aussie. I'm looking to sell Euro Aussie. Pound Aussie, not so much, because it looks like we're creeping back inside the low of the range, which is not a part of the plan. You know, price is being very flat, just ranging between highs and lows. And now it looks like price is just about breaking the low, but we have recovered that. So that's not what I want to see for a breakout. If price is legit breaking out of an area, we should really pull away. At no point should price break back within the range. At the very least, it should be a retest. So now that price has dipped below the low, but now we're back above it, it's just not a recipe for a breakout here. It could still be, price might still eventually break lower, but I'm not going to entertain this shorts just yet. I did say if we do see a big breakout, I do expect us to eventually get back here around 1.99, but I'm not entertaining that at the moment. So with Pound Aussie, us being back at lows again, naturally this is clearly an area of support, which price might find support again and potentially could reverse. So for now, the buying opportunities make the most sense at the low. This could just be somewhat of a fake out, price dip below the low. Now we've recovered. If we can kind of confirm support again, that could be a nice place for a buy. If we, of course, do break through and this trend does sustain, then, of course, the pullbacks will make sense. But we're still probably a week away from that happening. So not convinced really with the sellers at the moment. We've just taken out a major low and recovered it. This could induce potentially some buying opportunities. So I would keep an eye on some pullbacks. But yeah, I'm not convinced with the sells at all right now. I need price to break back below again and show a lot of strength from the sellers if I'm going to be looking to short, which at the moment I'm not seeing any signs of price doing that. In terms of Euro Aussie though, I quite like this one. This one did break structure and it has pulled back within the range, but I like it because it's pulled back into a nice area of supply. And the price did create some new highs over here, but it went and broke structure. So the way I see it, prices tried to continue the trend, failed, broke structure. Now I'm counting on a lower high to form and a continuation lower. And we've already seen somewhat of a decent pullback here. It is pretty strong, but we are becoming a bit more corrective now. And as we approach this supply zone, I like what I'm seeing. Nice consolidation, did spit out a lot of momentum there. So I'm looking for opportunities to short the market here. It's still too early. I'm not going to be jumping into this. This is a pretty aggressive move. I'm not going to try and call the top straight away. Price might fall from here, but I'm not entertaining the idea. I want price to kind of have a bit of a dip first, then push up. And then that's the opportunity I'm going to be interested to take for a short. But yeah, it's too early to say and too early to be looking for entries just yet. This is a really commanding bearish move. All I'm looking to do is try and call the pullback of that in this zone here. So yeah, Euro Aussie, I quite like the shorts. I quite like the shorts here. I'm not convinced that we do get back to the highs. I feel like if we were going to get back to the highs, this trend would have just continued, but it didn't. Price sold off really aggressively, took out lows. Yeah, I'm looking at lower high forming. It's funny because if you look at Euro NZD, that's a completely different story. Of course, with the NZD weakness we saw, that is looking really bullish and just taking out highs as well, as you can see there with the crosshair. So it's a completely different story told on that pair. This one, I'm not quite convinced, and I'm looking for shorts. No entries yet, but keeping a close eye. Okay, so we'll go through oil next, but with GJ, we've got G News. What are your thoughts and how do you think it would affect GJ? Good question. I mean, again, I don't really try to think too much about the news release. I think more about the effect the news could have longer term. Rates are expected to cut, aren't they, with pound? Let me double check that. No, they expect to stay the same. I mean, if they do stay the same, it's pretty neutral. I mean, I probably would expect maybe a drop on the news, but that's me just thinking out loud. That is not me saying go look to sell pound. Again, I'm very much a technical trader, so in terms of the news releases, like interest rates, NFP, I keep an eye on them because they're the big ones and they can drive the market. But more so, I'm just looking at how price respects these news events. How does price react? Do we start to break structure? Does price start to trend? That's really what I'm focused on. So going into the Bank of England with GJ, personally, I would stay away from the market really because I don't see much of an opportunity at the moment right now anyway. But especially with news coming out, I'll very much just wait for the news to come in. Maybe give it an hour. So news comes in at 12. I'll probably wait till 1. And then kind of digest what we're seeing. Is price potentially continuously breaking to the upside? Are we pulling back? Are we looking bearish? Has maybe the news had not much of an impact? Those are the questions I'll be asking myself probably about an hour at least after the news has happened. But from a technical perspective, I'm still very bullish. For me to be bearish, I'm going to need a really significant move on pound, something like that. And even then, I probably would just expect this to be a deeper pullback for eventually us to continue higher. So I am pretty locked in with the buys at the moment, to be honest. So it's going to take a lot of momentum and a lot of selling pressure for me to shift that bias. Upon the news, we might push down, we might push up. I'm not really trying to guess that. It's a bit of a pain trying to guess that, and just it's not really of my interest anyway because I'm not looking to trade the event itself. So whether I guess it right or not really has no bearing. It really provides me with no advantage really. So yeah, I am pretty bullish. We'll see what the news has when it released, but eventually I do expect pound yen to continue higher. Okay, so next we shall take a look. I missed Aussie yen, didn't I? Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at Aussie yen. If I do miss a pair, just drop it down in the chat again. Sometimes I will miss a pair here and there. CS Integrator, I did say hello to you, didn't I? Think I did. If not, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Yeah. Neutral to bearish in the lower time frame. I would agree. USD, EuroCAD, okay, we can have a look as well. New Zealand CAD's an interesting one. That sold off a cliff yesterday. What's up? Okay, yeah, we can take a look as well. Oh, because the AC, okay, makes sense. You didn't know if it's Aussie CAD or Aussie CHF. I know. The only reason why I know it's Aussie CAD is because Yusuf has talked about Aussie CAD many times, so that's what I assumed it to be. But yeah, that's a fair guess, Bashi. I don't blame you on that one. Okay, let me take a look at Aussie yen before I forget again. So yeah, Aussie yen. Ooh, Okay, so it looks like a lot of breaking retests in the market recently. A lot of markets have pulled back to retest the highs. Market makers running out of ideas for how to move the market here. But yeah, we've come back to retest the high, and it looks like we're looking pretty bullish. And I like the way we've broken out this counter trend line here. Really aggressive close this morning. Looks like momentum just kicked in. So perhaps we are going to continue back to highs at this point. If I drop intraday, yeah, really commanding move there. So again, not really the time and place to be buying just yet. We are approaching back into resistance supply. So really, if I was looking at this, what I would try and find an entry on would be either trying to pick the low or pick the breakout. Now it's kind of like, okay, we've already seen a decent move. We're probably going to need a healthy pullback before we even talk about some entries again. And especially as prices coming back into this consolidation, which maybe some sellers are looking to try and push price lower. So I would be looking at this area, which of course was a brief consolidation, gave us a really aggressive push to the upside. That would be a healthy area for a buy, especially intraday, maybe like 15-minute chart. That could be something to keep an eye on. Another pullback there, another higher low, that could be a decent buy. But in terms of like the breakout, I think we're underway. And looks like this retest of the high has really done its job here. So, I mean, the trend is very much to the upside. So even though we are coming back to that supply zone, that consolidation here, I think price is probably going to rip through that, to be honest. I don't see us selling off here. But of course, I wouldn't want to be, I would still be cautious. This would be the area to buy from a pullback than a continuation, if you're not already in the trade, that is. But yeah, Aussie CAD looking pretty bullish. The breaking retest doing its job. I mean, as to where we can get to, I mean, we're still kind of more or less trading resistance here. Not too far away from my head, so I wouldn't necessarily bank on another crazy move from Aussie Yen. I just keep it simple, back to highs and go from there. But yeah, Aussie CAD looking pretty bullish. Looks like more upside is on the way. Okay, so we'll go through EuroCAD, USD. I'm going to take a look at New Zealand CAD as well. I just did New Zealand Yen, so if you scroll back, you can take a look at that. Yeah, a lot of pairs today. But to be honest, I would have expected that because the markets are moving at the moment because of all the news we've had, all the interest rates. We've, of course, got more interest rates to come as well with pound and yen. So it's a busy week this week. It's a busy week, which is good. We like momentum, as long as we're on the right side of it, of course. What's up, Dino? Welcome to the stream. Good morning. I hope you're well. Okay, let's go through Euro Canadian. So Euro Canadian, I've been keeping an eye on for some shorting opportunities, but yeah, but I have to be very careful. Reason being, it's a very, very bullish market. Expand to the weekly chart, you can see prices just driving to the upside. It is definitely a very bullish chart here. So if you are going to be shorting this, you're well aware that you're going against the trend and higher time frame trend as well. It's not like a small 50-minute trend, which is a counter trend potentially. This is completely against the trend. And if I go to the monthly chart as well, you can see we've had a bullish move since August 2022. So trying to short the highs here, very difficult maneuver. Possible, but you have to be patient and your timing has to be on point. Otherwise, you're going to take loss after loss after loss as price continues higher. But the reason why I did like EuroCAD shorts, and I still do like EuroCAD shorts, is because where price is trading. We're trading above highs. We haven't been technically since 2009, but we formed resistance here and price has just about pinched it. So I do expect us to eventually topple out and see a move down. So I am very bearish in EuroCAD longer term. Of course, at the moment, the trend is still up and price is trending pretty well, but I would say we look very fatigued. I would say this looks really corrective to me. And especially when price is operating like this in a corrective channel, I do think it's a matter of time before we do see that push back down. So that's the opportunity I'm trying to trade. But again, I'm being very, very patient before I do take an entry. There's a very good chance I probably do miss the trade for being too patient. But I just don't want to be in a position where I'm shorting, just giving back profits to the market unnecessarily. I'd rather wait for a clear, obvious opportunity, which may or may not present. And if it does, then I'll take it. If not, I'd rather just let price do its thing. If I miss the move, I'm looking at other pairs as well. It's not like I'm all focused in on EuroCAD as well. But if something does develop there, I'm keeping a close eye. So yeah, the reason why I did like EuroCAD as well is because every time price does take out a high, it does revert back down again. So as you can see, every high that is taken out, price will create a new high and then come straight back down. Although this time we haven't done that yet. We took out the high, we consolidated, and we pushed up. We haven't really seen a move down. But now that we've got this move here, I wonder, has this taken out some of the early sellers? And now potentially is the market ready to push down? You know, is this the market potentially topping? Possibly. I would say maybe if I see price start to close back underneath this area, that could be a nice entry in itself. The risk reward might not be fantastic, because let's say if you find the entry on the closure back below the high, stops maybe above the high there, you know, you're not looking at fantastic risk reward, especially when you've got, you know, support and demand just resting over here, which has got to probably be your first target for the trade. You could maybe get away with bringing the stop loss down a little bit, but if the market does have like a weird pullback, you might get wicked out. So it might not be the best opportunity in itself, but I wouldn't really be interested in buys unless you're like on like a really lower time frame, like a 50-minute chart. I mean, that was a nice buy this morning. So yeah, I would suggest maybe another run back to the lows here. That could be a nice buy. But again, I'll keep it short term because the market's very tired. We're just at fresh highs. So I wouldn't be looking at like a crazy big bullish move. I think if you get a push back to resistance, you're looking good. And probably get to lock in some gains. Like I said, every time the market does create a new high beyond it, it does come back down. So I especially expect EuroCAD to make that move at some point very, very soon. So if you do get into buys, you're not necessarily looking for something like that because you're expecting probably that to happen. But yeah, if you're intraday, like 50-minute, I would stay with the buys. The trend is up. There's no need to really go counter trend unless we do see significant bearish structure, which in this case we don't have yet. So I think buy is still the best bet. You got a lovely area of demand here, already a nice reaction, a push back to lows. That could be a nice smart place for a buy, and yeah, a push back to resistance makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with EuroCAD. In terms of Euro NZD, this one's been interesting as well. But of course, with the NZD news, what can you do? Really aggressive move to the upside. I wasn't really convinced, to be honest, with a push back to highs. I did say with Euro NZD, I do expect to bounce, but I do expect us to also form a lower high as we get back into this area. And I was expecting us to come back down here, but especially with the news yesterday, that completely put that out the window, and price is now looking really aggressive and has actually made new highs. So what would you do now if Euro NZD? Would you keep still looking to buy? Probably not really. You definitely want to see a big pullback at least. Again, price is having a hard time at the highs as well. You can see if I map out the wick high here and drag that across, you can see price came into that high, struggled and pushed down. So this is not an area which I'll be getting excited about the buys. I know the trend is up. I know we've just seen a lot of momentum as well. But this area is quite vulnerable. I wouldn't be looking to aggressively buy into that. Maybe if you do see a really healthy breakout, then yeah, something like that could make sense. But here we have every reason why price could potentially roll over. So what I would suggest is if you can get a deeper pullback, more so down here, I feel like this area is a little bit too close to the high for my liking. I like it if we have a deeper pullback here. I think this could be a smart place for a buy, even if it's just a pushback to resistance, not necessarily a pushback to highs, because now that we've got that move, your momentum's still with the buys. That's really the direction you want to be looking to trade in. You can potentially look for some shorts at the highs here. It's more of an aggressive trade. You're going up against all that trend there, so shorting the highs there will be an aggressive position. So I would still stick with the buys, but yeah, this area would make a bit more sense. This is a little bit too close to all the noise up there. A push down to these areas, I think is a smart place to get long and take a push back to high. So Euro NZD, I quite like the look of that. And of course, New Zealand CAD, another New Zealand pair, really aggressive move down. yesterday. I think CAD was a little bit strong as well. So yeah, you got a strong currency, of course, accompanied with a very weak currency. That's the result of that. I was actually pretty bullish coming into the week for New Zealand CAD. I was looking for a pullback and more upside. Now, because of how aggressive that bearish move is, it has made me pause that bias a little bit, because not only do I take into account market structure, I also take into account the speed and how price moves. If price is going to create structure but it's really corrective, so it's like this on the way up and then really corrective, not really seeing much momentum, I'm not going to be convinced to trade that. If I'm seeing price make very powerful moves up, slow moves down, powerful moves up, that's bread and butter. That's a healthy pullback. If you can see another corrective move down, there's a really good chance we do continue that move. If things are corrective, yeah, we might continue it, but I wouldn't get my hopes up. So the speed of price is very important, because it can kind of tell you where the bigger players are making their moves as well. Because retail traders are not going to cause an aggressive move. We don't have the buying or the selling power for that. So the bigger moves are kind of the bigger players and where they're positioning themselves. So this is a really aggressive move. Would I still bank on a push back up? I mean, I would favor a bounce here, but I wouldn't necessarily be confident and move back to highs. So I do think this is a smart place for a buy for New Zealand CAD. But again, I would wait for price to settle first. So, right now we're really aggressive. I'll wait for maybe price to consolidate, maybe wick through the level a little bit. And that could be a nice buy there. But only after that development will it be a nice buy. Entering straight away here, you do put yourself in the firing line a little bit. There's a lot of momentum here. Trying to just call that on a dime just because we've come into an area of support, an area of demand. Yeah, maybe we do react like that, but at the same time, this is really, really aggressive. So yeah, I'll be quite cautious of New Zealand CAD. Yes, we're in a nice area for a buy, and yes, price could respect this and see a lot of upside, but I'll wait for us to kind of level out first. Maybe spend at least 24 hours at that zone. Maybe this time tomorrow the buyers could be looking a lot better, or at least the opportunity could be looking a lot better. So yeah, I would be looking for a bounce here for New Zealand CAD. Like I said, I'm not optimistic that we do get back to highs here and further. Maybe we do, but I wouldn't necessarily look for that. It would be more so, can we take a bounce? Can we take advantage of that? Maybe lock in some gains and just trail the rest, see how far we can go. Maybe a push to this area. Strong supply, that's where the momentum came from. Maybe we can get a push there. But too early to say if the buyers are going to work or not. Way too early. But we are in a nice area, so keep an eye out. Dino, did you manage to get into pound USD pullback? No. I know pound USD's made the move down, but I wasn't really feeling it, to be honest, especially where the DXY is trading. I mean, it was a nice pullback, nice retest. Of course, coming back into that area there as well. But because DXY has already taken out the low and already made some new lows after that, I'm not so optimistic to keep shorting the dollar. Because once lows are taken out, sometimes price can start to go for a new phase, whether it's a big rejection or maybe a new continuation of the trend. But once price does take out a low, things do get a bit awkward. The reason why I was really enjoying and really wanting to short USD yesterday is because we haven't taken out the lows yet, so I still have reason to expect the dollar to go lower because of the fact that price is likely to take out the lows. Now that we've done that, I don't necessarily have as much reason to expect the dollar to keep falling, apart from that the trend is bearish and that we are seeing lower highs. So yeah, that is definitely one good reason, but that's about it. And pound USD, I do expect price to go higher. I was still looking for entries on like the lower time frame. I know we had the big rejection there on the 4-hour chart, but it's just a bit awkward in terms of the risk to reward. If I was to take an entry there, stops below the low, maybe I'm looking at about 1-to-1 back into highs, which is nothing necessarily wrong with a 1-to-1. I was trying to see if I can find an entry in like a hourly or like a 50-minute chart like I did yesterday, but I don't quite have that yet. So maybe if price does push back to lows, I might consider that, because that way I can actually increase the risk to reward and don't actually have to bank on price pushing it all the way up there, maybe even just halfway, and I still walk away with a decent trade as well. So I'm still keeping an eye. I still do think pound has more room to the upside, but I haven't seen a good setup yet to trade it. Yes, I know the breaking retest has played out pretty well there, at least so far anyway. But the risk to reward is a bit skewed. And the fact that we've already tested the highs as well isn't great too. Because the reason why I hopped into the trade here yesterday as well, another reason, is because I'm expecting price to test this area. Now that we have tested it and rejected it, you know, that factor, that confidence of the trade is no longer there for me. Because I'm expecting price to do something, it's gone and done it. So it's like, okay, do I expect it to do it again? Well, I wouldn't be as confident now as I was the first time. Because we've just seen the breakout here. Now I'm banking on price getting to the next zone. It's hit the next zone, and it's come back to hit the same zone again. So it's like, okay, do I expect price to keep going? I do, but just not to the same confidence I had yesterday. So I'm just being a bit more cautious with the trading opportunity. But if I can find something on the 15, I'll probably give it a go, just because risk to reward would be a lot better. 4 hour, it's not as good. There are other pairs that look a little bit better to me. I still like dollar CAD though. I still like dollar CAD. I said both pound USD and dollar CAD look really good. I think dollar CAD's got a lot of room now. You know, I'm expecting dollar CAD to go and hit zones down here. So dollar CAD's still got room to offer me, and still an opportunity. Euro yen's got room to offer as well. Pound yen's got a lot of room to offer. If that can break out, still expecting euro yen to get back to the high there, and pound yen potentially all the way back to 206 if this breakout really does mean business too. So that's really where I think my opportunities will come from in the next foreseeable few days, few weeks really. So those are the pairs I'm more interested in right now than pound. But if something does develop in the 15, I might give it a go. Things look good. Okay, so where was I? GJ Gaming, Aussie CAD, inner trade 0.9. Okay, we can take a look. Mr. B, what's up? Nice. Hopefully never too late to learn. Of course, never too late to learn. Never too late to learn. I mean, essentially it's like learning a new language, but even at whatever age you're at, looking to learn, it keeps the brain sharp, and it's a good skill to learn as well. It does open up the doors to a lot of different things too, so really no matter the age really, definitely something to learn. And you never know, you might pick it up really fast as well. Some people tend to pick it up really fast, other people might take some time. Maybe the experience might play into your hand. But welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. What's up, Malik? Welcome to the stream as well. Hope you're doing good. CAD very weak as well. And euro in relation is somewhat stronger. So why are you not bullish? Why am I not bullish in euro CAD? Because I don't want to buy anymore. It's gone way too high up for me to keep buying, and it's just taken out some monthly highs as well. So yes, I mean in terms of the trend, of course it is bullish. But I'm not just bullish because the trend is bullish. I'm a very technical trader, so it's about location as well. It's about what phase we are in the trend. Yes, the current conditions are bullish 100%, but we've taken out some highs where I'm not really interested to keep buying the market anymore. I would definitely argue the bigger move for EuroCAD is probably at least a pullback to the downside. Maybe we are going to continue higher and break out, but I do think after taking out major highs like this, we're probably going to do something like that, and then maybe we do continue. And we could have a massive reversal too, but maybe we are going to do that in the future. But if I'm going to take advantage of a trade, it needs to be in a location where it makes sense to do that. This is not really a place, especially as a swing trader, where it makes sense for me to buy. So that's the reason why I'm not bullish. Yes, the trend is bullish, obviously, but yeah, I can tell the trend is tiring. I can tell the trend's running out of steam. I don't want to keep looking to buy this. I'd rather try and bet sells if I can. If there's no trade opportunity, then I'll just stay away. There's other markets that look even better than EuroCAD right now. But for those reasons is why I'm not bullish, because of where we're located. Yes, the trend is up, but I need more than just the trend to entertain a trade. CAD GM BTC, okay, we can have a look as well. Go through the Aussie CAD position for DJ Gaming. And then I can take a look at those currency pairs as well. And also I do want to show you one of the agents we've been working on with Zentrix as well. But I'll go through DJ Gaming's Aussie CAD position first, and then we'll take a look. Aussie CAD, okay, you're in a position, are you buying or selling in a trade from 0.91542? Okay, 91542. That's about there. And on the 30-minute time frame, so I suppose you're buying. That's what I'm going to assume. But I'm sure you'll let me know. So yeah, I mean, I am bullish on Aussie CAD as well. I do think this is just a pullback for price to continue higher. I'm looking at this as a very commanding bullish move. I'm looking at a correction. Now I do expect us to continue higher. I'm not quite ready to buy yet. I do want to see more of a complex pullback. I want price to kind of maybe consolidate, maybe even have a deeper pullback as well. Because looking at the characteristics of Aussie CAD, we tend to have deeper pullbacks more often than not. Sometimes we'll have shallow pullbacks here and there. You know, nothing is absolute, but we do have those deeper pullbacks, which is what I'm banking on. But my plan for Aussie CAD is more upside. We've had a really lovely bullish move. I'm looking at a pullback of that, and now banking on price to continue. So it's just about timing that pullback, really. Still not quite convinced just yet, so I'm looking for a deeper, more prolonged pullback, but I am expecting us to eventually pick up momentum and push through. There's still some levels down here which could come in retest as well. But yeah, I mean, you're a bit more intraday. You said 30-minute chart, so you're not necessarily looking for a big swing trade. Where's your targets for that position? I'm interested in knowing how far you're looking to take it, because we are approaching supply now. So if price is going to sell off, it's probably going to be here. If you can get price to break through this, you're looking really good, because then price is kind of giving us the impression that this channel is kind of broken out of and momentum's picked up. So if you can see a move like this to break through that zone, you're looking good, and you can probably take price back to highs there. If we do start to find resistance and start to struggle here, that's where you have to probably keep an eye on the trade, because we could roll over and put another lower high in, as we've done previously. And that's kind of the make or break of the trade. So yeah, how far are you looking to take that position? But yeah, that's the area I would keep an eye on. But yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out our Zentrix platform, make sure you go do so. It's something we've been working on for quite a while now, and there's still a lot to come. It's a really interesting project, and one I'm really excited about, because I'm a big believer in AI and the impact it will have in all our lives in a lot of different areas, but particularly in trading. In a few years, probably, you know, all traders will be using some element of AI, whether in terms of trading themselves, in terms of, you know, risk management, in terms of confluence or perfecting positions, or just analyzing data, really. So AI is definitely something to keep an eye on, and that's the vision we kind of used when building Zentrix. And there's a lot of different avenues we're looking to explore: building strategies, building bots, refining strategies, software to backtest with as well, signal generation, and a lot more. And one element which I do recommend, if you do want to check out the platform and have a look at, is the AI agents, the different agents there you can look to chat with and communicate, just like you would do with like a chat GPT. There's conversations you can have regarding the topics, so fundamentals, technicals, risk management, market sentiment, and there's prompts at the bottom as well if you're lost for ideas and you just want a place to start. You know, just use a stop loss strategy prompt at the bottom. Help me set stop loss levels for my portfolio, and you can give more tailored answers as well. You can provide it more information in terms of what market you're trading, in terms of any positions you have open as well, or if you just want general questions, you know, what's a general risk management plan for managing your positions, or even manage your account as a whole. And no matter really kind of what avenue you're looking at, whether risk management, technicals, fundamentals, even market sentiment or cryptocurrency even, you can find questions here. So as you can see, it's giving you a general idea of how to use stop loss and how to calculate your risk as well. Of course, a good example of a 100K account, 1% risk per trade. It's giving you ideas about how to use it too. So no matter really if you're a beginner or more advanced, there's opportunities and ways you can use the platform. So I do recommend check it out. The link is in the description below. Give it a go. You do need 1 million of the token to access and use the platform, but once you have that, everything is completely free to use. So I do recommend to check it out. Okay, so next we shall go through CAD and BTC. And then we'll take a look at Euro Pound. What's up, Lighton? Welcome to the stream, my man. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, we'll take a look at Euro Pound, no problem. My favorite pair at the moment, I can't lie. Not a big fan of Euro Pound, but I'll take a look at it for you. Don't forget oil. I did forget oil. Omar, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll go through oil right now. So yeah, oil's interesting. Oil's interesting. I spoke about oil yesterday. I said I don't like the price action. I think this is just basic consolidation, really. You know, more or less equal highs, equal lows there. And I'm not a big fan of oil, to be honest. I think it's quite flat. The bigger move I'm waiting for is to see if oil can actually go and break to the upside here. And then I would be very bullish on oil because the way I see it, price has had a bearish move. It's formed a double bottom. And if it does break the high here, I'm just going to expect us to eventually get back there. So this breakout makes this trade pretty straightforward. Clean breakout, waiting for momentum, pullbacks, and on we go. That's what I'm expecting. Or if we do break the lows, then I'm expecting us to get back here. And then the idea would just be looking for pullbacks and trending conditions back to lows. So no matter really the play, no matter which way price does eventually decide to make the move, there will be clean opportunities outside of this range. Here's where things get choppy and difficult to maneuver around. So yesterday I did say there could be a short-term trade as price comes back into this zone here. You know, really aggressive move to the upside, nice demand zone. I do think this is a smart place for a buy, but because of the conditions and how choppy price is, I just don't think it's a quality opportunity. I personally wouldn't entertain it. I would wait for the breakouts because I think that's where the better, more high quality and just easier trades to spot in general. And that's really what I'm trying to focus on, taking the easier trades. Trades that are clear, not where I have to kind of squint and really tilt my head to try and find a position. If I'm doing that, I'm doing too much. Especially if you've already got a bit of experience. Of course, if you're new to the market, it's going to take some time, of course. But if you've got experience and you're comfortable with your approach, you shouldn't be confused when you're taking a trade. It should be pretty you should be pretty confident with it. But anyway, we have come back to a nice demand zone, really strong push here. This is somewhat of a smart place to buy. This in isolation is a nice setup, but in the context of the market isn't great. That's really the point I'm trying to drill home here. But yeah, price is having a nice test of that area. It dropped to the 15. I mean, if I was looking for a buy opportunity, because I can see every time prices have a move down, we do see really aggressive up moves. So what I would wait for probably would be another move back down to the low, so I can time my entries down here, so I can have a pretty safe stop loss while still taking advantage of an up move. That to me would be a smart play, because I know I'm in a demand zone. I know if I'm expecting price to rally, it's going to be from here. Entering up here would be a little bit too late to the party because you're directly in resistance here, and then price could potentially sell off and you're straight in drawdown. So I'd rather wait for a push back to the lows and anticipate that bounce. Or if you want a really safe entry, wait for price to give you a breakout here to kind of get rid of all the noise here. So wait for a commanding breakout and then look for pullbacks after that, and then you're banking on a push back to the high here. So the opportunity would be the pullback here and then taking the buy on the higher low, and then there's your push. So either you go for the slightly more aggressive trade at the lows, stops underneath it, or wait for the breakout and then pullbacks along the way. And those are the two opportunities I would look at. But yeah, I'm just not a big fan. Choppy conditions, I'd rather stay away and wait for the bigger moves. So yeah, that is the plan with oil. But next I'll go through, what was it, CAD, BTC. Yeah, we'll take a look at those. And then we'll go through Euro Pound for Lighton. Yeah, but actually that's what I'm trying to figure out, man. Which pairs are left. Doctor, what's up? Hope you're good. Bravo. As you said yesterday, dollar yen touched the 4-hour trend line and very bullish with a hammer. I in the trade. No, I didn't take the position. The risk reward was off for me. It was a really nice rejection. I'll quickly go through dollar yen, then I'll go through the CAD yen and BTC. But yeah, very, very nice aggressive reaction. But yeah, the entry was a little bit off. I was hoping to time the entry a little bit better. I mean, I was at the gym whilst it was happening, because normally I stopped looking at the charts around 6 p.m. But I was keeping an eye with the news. But yeah, I was debating the entry here, but I was like, with the news and all, and especially with the conference as well, which kind of gave us the wick back up, I was kind of hoping for price to settle, maybe come back to retest it the following morning. That way I can kind of get more of an entry like this, rather than like this on the 4-hour, which does put me at a slight disadvantage with, I mean, it's not the pips that's the problem. It's not like, it is a lot of pips. 157 pips is a pretty big stop loss. But in context of the market, it's not necessarily ginormous. But what it does do is mean that a push back to the high of the range is only 1R for me, which is kind of where I want to have my targets. I know price potentially can break out, we can go further, but the risk reward isn't particularly great, which is the same reason why I didn't take pound USD as well this morning too, which was also a break and retest opportunity there as well. This one would be about a 1-to-1 as well, back to the high of the range. Again, price might go further, but that's where I can kind of be confident price can get to. So because the risk reward was a little bit off, the wick was a bit too big for my liking. The rejection was good. There was nothing wrong with that. But the rejection was just a little bit too big for me. If it was a bit more concise, I would have been able to formulate a better risk reward. But yeah, lovely wick through the trend line as well. I mean, it did 2 birds, 1 stone. It took out the low there and the trend line and then pulled back. So it was a nice signal off that. But yeah, this risk reward setup, oh, just hit the mic there. Hope I haven't deafened anyone. But the risk reward setup wasn't particularly great. So that's my only downside. Okay, so we'll go through CAD yen and BTC. So yeah, CAD yen as well. I was keeping an eye on CAD yen. This was another one I quite liked. It didn't actually take out the low, so it didn't actually fit the criteria. But it was another solid rejection this, I was about to say this morning, was a solid rejection yesterday. I said I was looking for price to take out this low in a similar fashion to what dollar yen did, maybe not as aggressively. But again, beggars can't be choosers really. I was looking for price to take out the low and then reject, and then that would be the buy. We didn't quite do that, so technically didn't really fit the criteria, because I don't like it when price has tested the area numerous times and just haven't kind of followed through. In FX, we do tend to break highs and lows quite a lot of the time, so I'd rather wait for that to happen than enter after, because my stop loss will be a little bit vulnerable. It's in the smart place, it's below a key level, but price can always just dip into the water a little bit before we do rally. So I was hoping this wick could pierce the low and then push up, but that's not the case. Again, price doesn't necessarily have to do that. It could respect support and then push up. It's just that was the technique, that was the entry I was after. But the bias is still the same, looking for basically price to respect support here and then eventually push back to highs. That's basically the plan. The first target for the trade would be a push back to resistance here, which we're about halfway through already. Really nice move to the upside. Now coming into the 50% point, really. So, if you weren't a buy down here, let's say, and you had a nice, really smart entry at the lows, you're probably looking to manage the trade coming into the 50% point, book some partials there, then maybe hold the rest back to the high, maybe book some more partials, and then whatever is remaining, maybe you look for the bigger swing. But yeah, CAD generally nice move. I wouldn't look to enter now. I would still suggest if we could roll back over and take out the low, that would be very nice. And then we can time our entries at the low there. But now I would say entries are a little bit late, especially with coming into resistance, even if I expect it to break. So yeah, entering the market's a bit awkward right now. This would be convenient, back at the lows, safe stops, still taking advantage of the range. But it's a big if we will see that move or not. But in terms of direction, CAD yen still pretty bullish. And I'll go to BTC, then Euro pound afterwards. So in terms of Bitcoin, yeah, looking pretty bullish. Not too much noise with this one, to be honest. Yeah, didn't really see any crazy wicks or anything like that. A little bit of a move to the downside, but mostly pretty bullish. The plan this week was just looking for the retest of this level at 113k. Unfortunately, wasn't meant to be, or hasn't meant to be yet. You know, we could still see that pullback. I don't want to write that off completely, but it does look like support is forming slightly higher up, and we're holding it pretty well. So I do expect Aussie CAD, where'd that come from? I do expect Bitcoin to keep pushing up. I don't know why I said Aussie CAD there. Yeah, I do expect BTC to continue higher. It would be nice to get the retest here. If that's not the case, if we don't get that retest, the way I see it, it looks like price is again having somewhat of another consolidation. Maybe if we can get a strong break of that, there could be some healthy pullbacks to retest that and then find the next leg. So if we can get the bigger pullback, great. If not, maybe looking a bit more intraday for some trades and then trying to find some pullbacks afterwards. So it's still a bit congested here. So I would want to see a more commanding breakout, more momentum to indicate, okay, BTC's trending well again. Then we can look for pullbacks there. It's still a bit noisy here. So it's either we have the bigger pullback or we see a bit more strength and then look for maybe a bit more of a shallow intraday pullback. But 120k is still the target. Not quite there yet, but almost. And for Euro Pound, really choppy pair. We did see a lot of strength Tuesday. I didn't actually talk about Euro Pound on Tuesday, so I didn't really cover that. But really strong move down Tuesday. I'm still under the impression that price is just consolidating at the highs here. And I am still very interested in price breaking lower and finding some pullbacks on the way down. Of course, that could still take a week or two, so we probably won't discuss it too much, but that's really what I'm waiting for before I trade it. At the moment, it looks like the market's just really flat to me, so I wouldn't really pay too much attention to the price here. When price is consolidating, especially in the middle of it, I try my best to stay away because that's where the most noise is. Price is fluctuating quite a lot in terms of just finding good opportunities. It's a lot difficult when you're in the middle of the range. You know, price is a lot more noisy, more prone to get wicked out. I'd rather try my luck at the lows here and the highs there. Again, not that you'll be smashing winning trade after winning trade, but you just be naturally positioned better to take advantage of a move, whether you're looking for breakouts or a retest. So with Aussie CAD, I said it again, what the hell? I mean, Aussie CAD is on my watch list, so that kind of explains it, but that's weird. With Euro Pound, yeah, the only opportunity that makes sense to me would be another push to the low and then a buy at 0.86. So I'd wait for a push back to support. Let's see if it reacts well. I mean, it has been very significant support. If you look to the left, you can see times where prices reacted with it again. If price gets there, reacts well, I do think prices likely have a bounce. I wouldn't bank on a move back to highs. It'd be more so just looking for a reaction, maybe back to retest some lows here, and then I'll walk away from the trade because I don't really have a directional bias with Euro Pound right now. It's not like, okay, I'm expecting price to do this or that. It's more so we're just ranging between these two areas, and I'm waiting for price to make a move. If it makes a move like that, great, then I know what I'm expecting. Or even if it makes a move above the highs, then I'm looking for the trend to continue. But in here, it's 50-50. We've just seen a strong move up. Do I expect to continue that? Not really. I mean, here's a nice support level here. We could bounce and continue, but again, the conditions aren't optimal. So, yeah, I'd focus more so down there. Which is why I'm not a big fan of Euro Pound. Okay, where was I? Okay, your TP 0.92063, and that's an Aussie CAD. Okay. 0.92063. That's about here some. Okay, so the wick high more or less. Yeah, I like it. Not looking for anything too crazy, but still keep an eye on that trend line area around 0.917. I would say keep an eye If price is going to go against you, it's probably that area there. If you can see momentum through that, I say don't be shy to try and hold on back to highs. Of course, maybe take profits at your take profit. You know, you had that in place for a reason. Respect that. But don't be shy. Maybe hold on for a little position or trail some stops to try and see if you can squeeze a bit more juice out of that. Because this does look like a pullback. So if you do break the channel well with some healthy momentum, I do think we'll get back to highs there. But yeah, makes sense to me. Miku, you own Zentrix or just a partner? No, it is, well, it's me and other people, but yes, I do own Zentrix. Too many today, I can't keep up. And Bashi, I appreciate the efforts though. I can see you're working hard there, so yeah, big up to yourself. Yeah, true. It's also Daily Hammer as well. No, again, it's a good rejection. It's a good rejection, but risk to reward ain't that great. If price does play out to my level, I walk away for 1-to-1, which again, nothing really wrong with it, but I'm always a fan of, you know, if I'm taking a trade, I'm under the impression that if I do win the trade, I'll make more than what I would have done if I lost the position. Doesn't have to be like a 1-to-10, you know, 1-to-2 is great. Even a 1-to-1.5 I'll take sometimes. But if I'm going to take a low risk reward trade, I want the probability of the trade to play out to be very, very high to compensate for that. If I'm taking a trade which is a bit more risky, I wouldn't entertain a 1-to-1, because the whole point of taking like 1-to-1s, 1-to-1.5 is that you're only looking for a small amount, a small piece of the pie from the market. So you want it to be very high probability to play out. Because if you're going to have a low risk reward with a low win rate, of course, that's not really going to yield you much return. You can have a low win rate with a big risk reward because the risk reward will compensate. But if you're going to go for slightly lower risk reward opportunities, you need to make sure that a lot of boxes are ticked and ticked to a high standard. Aussie yen, it was good, but not really something I would be so optimistic with. And especially if the risk reward being low, I need it to be very, very high for me to take the trade. Again, it could still play out, but in terms of my rules and what I look for, it wasn't like, you know, outstanding. If it was a bigger risk reward, I probably still would have given it a go, because if it does play out, maybe I'll walk away for like a 3-4R. You know, that's worth the risk. But 1-to-1, it needs to be looking really, really good for me to take it. No problem, Omar. Happy to help. Yes, we do have pound news. I almost forgot. Thank you for reminding me, Jeremy. We got interest rates. Let's get pound. Let's do a split screen and do pound USD, pound yen. So we'll do pound JPY, and then yeah, pound USD is already there. Let me just delete the drawings and let's shift to a 50-minute chart for some drama. Again, the Bank of England sometimes is a big one. The last interest rate we did actually was quite noisy. The one before that I think was very flat. We'll see what today has in store. But yeah. Again, I'm not in any position, so I don't really have any skin in the game, so I don't really mind what happens, to be honest. I know pound yen, I kind of want to see a breakout because I want to be looking to buy pound yen. Pound USD, I still kind of want to be buying pound USD as well. But if I'm looking to buy it, I kind of need to move down. So I need something like that to happen. I need price to be back at lows. If I'm looking to buy this one up here, it's not really doing me much good. But I would be bullish on both of them. Malik, me personally, I normally like to enter trade as soon as it touches my level rather than wait for candles to go. Okay, fair enough. Stops are placed below the level. So, okay. I mean, different approach to the market. I like to wait for price to kind of develop there, spend some time first, maybe fake a little bit lower. There'll be times where price does test the level and just rockets from that level, and I'll miss the trade because I'm trying to wait for all this, all this development to happen. So there will be times I do that, but I like it to be a little bit more. I like price to kind of consolidate a little bit at an area, because that's like all the people jumping into the trade first. Maybe it shakes them out and then I get to enter. So I like kind of being patient, then just entering just before the market's about to go, or at least when I've got that sign that it potentially might happen. But yeah, there will be times where price will tap into a level and just fly. And of course, because I'm trying to be all patient, I miss the move. So again, trading, there's so many different avenues to take. It's not necessarily what avenue you take, it's just how well you perform in that avenue, perform in that technique, that strategy, that method, whatever it is. It's just about how well you perform at it. Some people wait for candles to close, some people don't, some people wait for breakouts, some people don't, some people look to fade breakouts. There's literally a million different things you could be looking to do. Just whatever you look to do, just do it well. I think that's the main message. Yeah, I mean, again, that makes sense, Malik. That makes sense. Rather take that drawdown than miss the trade. That makes sense as well. Exactly. Low risk reward needs to be a high win rate for it to suffice. And of course, high risk reward, you can afford a low win rate. So if I'm going to drop the risk reward, I need to make sure that the trade I'm taking, at least in my analysis, looks very, very likely to play out. And if that's not the case, I would avoid it. I still do take low risk reward opportunities. I've done that many times on streams before, but it needs to be looking really good to me. If the risk reward's high, I can afford. I still want it to be a good opportunity, of course, but I can afford to be a little bit optimistic, because number one, I'm going to manage my trade along the way. So it's not like, okay, I'm entering a trade and it just has to go hit 5R for me to walk away with profit. Your price might go 3R. I might be able to trail stops, might take partials. So even if price doesn't quite get there, I still walk away for profit. So it doesn't have to be very high probability in terms of getting to targets for me to take the position, because I do have management along the way as well. But yeah, low risk rewards, you need to making sure you're taking really good opportunities. Don't have the impression that, okay, just because the risk reward is low, my win rate will be high naturally. It will be, because of course you're taking your profits earlier, but still it has to be a good trade. You still have to be taking good positions too. Okay, that's a good point as well. Sacrificing the frequency to allow for a higher win rate as well. Yeah, I mean, there's a balance between that too. I mean, there is, okay, I can be very, very particular with my trades. Of course, you won't take many trades because of it, but it will allow you to have a better performance in terms of your win rate and your risk rewards. But the funny thing is, you could, take, 10 times more trades, and by the end of the month, end of the year, still have the same P&L. But the difference is, because you're more particular with the trades you do pick, you will have less drawdown, because the trader who takes 10 times more trades but still has the same P&L at the end of the given time period, versus the trader takes less positions but still has the same P&L, their drawdowns are just going to be less. The equity curve will be a lot smoother as well, and your trading stats will be more attractive as well, and probably less stress too. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to it, but there is a balance as well, because there will be a point where higher frequency does mean a bit more profit too, because you take more opportunities, and sometimes you can be a bit too selective. You might miss out some winners too. So there's a bit of a balance there too. But generally speaking, if you can keep your performance up, the news just come out, by the way. If you keep your performance up with reducing the number of trades you take, that means you're more efficient at your trading, which is, again, really the goal of trading, to be honest, the most efficient you can be. But yeah, the news has just come out. We're seeing a slight bullish reaction there. Nothing crazy, but it is the first few seconds, so I'm not going to talk too much, because we could still explode. I might be jinxing it right now. We are pushing up a bit on pound yen there. Pound USD trying to do the same thing too. Let me get the calendar up. Okay, so yeah, the expected was 4% and the actual is 4%. So nothing out the blue. And then we've got yen tomorrow. So yeah, it looks like we're having a bullish reaction to the news. At least so far. That could change in the next few minutes. Sometimes we do see price make a move in one direction for the first few minutes of the news, maybe even the first 15 sometimes, and then we do reverse. So do pay attention to that. But again, I would wait for the hourly candle to close. So it's just gone 12 now. I'd wait for 1 p.m. to digest everything and then reanalyze everything to see what the outcome is. We just had a nasty pullback there as well. Maybe I just jinxed it there again. Yeah, I'll give it to 1 p.m. or at least the next hour. And that will give us a better overview of how prices reacted to the news. I mean, despite what happens, I know what I'm looking to do on both charts. You know, pound yen, I'm very much looking for more upside. And if I'm looking for a buy opportunity, it would be down at the lows here where we're consistent with the higher lows. So this is where I'll look to try and find a buy. Pound yen on the 15, I would like to try and find a buy at the lows here, because that's where I can get a safe stop loss, a good entry, and you know, really maximize that risk reward while still respecting, you know, key support. If I go to the 4 hour time frame, you know, we're still going to be retesting, you know, this prior high to our left there as well. So I like the opportunity there for pound USD. I like the opportunity there for pound yen. I would say I'm bullish on both markets. Not really entertaining buy opportunities now. We've just, you know, had some big moves this morning. I'd say we're a bit stretched. So I wouldn't mind both of them pulling back. I wouldn't mind pound yen exploding, to be honest, because there's a lot of room for pound yen to the upside. So if you do explode, I do like the pullbacks after. But again, that might go into next week in terms of finding opportunities. But yeah, we've had the news come out. It did start off bullish, but it looks like we are pulling back quite a lot here. So I do wonder, is that a bit of a fakey there? Sending people one way and then moving the other? Possibly. It's not like we're seeing crazy movement here, so it's not like it's an aggressive wick. I mean, you know, you can barely tell there was news, to be honest, so it's not anything crazy, but we are still whipsawing. Again, I would wait for the hourly candle to close to really judge everything. Okay, where was I? No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. Again, guys, I would wait for the candle to close, not the 15, the hourly, to judge. But yeah, it looks like we're pushing lower now. That might have been a bit of a fake move higher. See, GBP isn't all that. No, it's not. Not compared to the Fed. Absolutely not. Doctor, to be honest, I don't really entertain the votes, to be honest. I'm just focused on the interest rate decision. Again, I'm a very technical based trader, so in terms of trying to look at the intricacy of the news, I don't really pay too much attention to it. I'm also how price reacts to it, because that's really what I'm trading at the end of the day. And if price looks good, great, there's an opportunity. If not, I stay away. So I'm also just focused on the rates decision itself. I don't really pay attention to the votes. Okay, so 027. What does that vote mean? Hold, keep, cut. Oh, okay. I don't know if you got it in the order wrong. I don't know either, mate. I don't know, Bashi. I just keep an eye on the reaction the price gives. Yeah, I'm not saying they're not important. It's just that I'm just only bothered with the price, that what the market reacts to and how it prints. That's the most important thing for me, because it doesn't really matter what the votes are. the market's going to do its thing. And if I get an opportunity to trade it, great. If not, then I'm not really too bothered. There's many news events which I don't really pay too much attention to. The only main ones is rates, non-farm payroll, and CPI. And that's purely because of risk. Okay, no unity on the stance of the UK economy. Let me have a look. Normally is a press conference afterwards, but I'm not seeing one scheduled. Yeah, I don't see one scheduled, so I don't think there is, or just not scheduled, at least on the calendar I'm looking at. There probably is one, just maybe they haven't included it. They normally do include it though, I don't know. And then we've got jobless claims in the afternoon as well. For USD, I would keep an eye on that one. But anyway, guys, excuse me. We have come to the end of the stream, so if you guys have enjoyed the stream, oh, look at that. I've not been keeping an eye on the chart, and it's looking really bearish now. Interesting. Again, I'll still give it the hour. But yeah, we are looking pretty bearish right now. Really interesting. Yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. If you have found it useful, drop a like, enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams uploads in the future, and also make sure you do what was the final one? Share. There we go. Share with your friends. It does really help out. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I will be live again tomorrow. I'm actually live again later today on Trader Nick's channel. So if you do want to see more of my analysis and kind of see how the news does finally kind of print, and maybe the USD news in the afternoon as well, do tune into that stream on his channel later today. That's at like 2 p.m. UK time, so about 2 hours. But if you're not able to catch that one, I will be live again tomorrow on this channel as always, and we'll discuss what's going on in the markets there. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Thanks, Bashi, for dropping the links there. Appreciate it. But until the next one, guys, have a good one, and I'll catch you all in the next stream.
Six AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. Exi, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI